I'm Maggie Lovitt with Collider. Welcome back to our New York Comic Con studio. I'm here with the cast and creatives behind Talamasca. How are you all doing?
Good.
Really good.
Good, Maggie.
Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. I want to start first with Nicholas. Guy goes on such a journey throughout the course of the series, and I'm curious for you, what was the moment where the character fully made sense to you, where you kind of felt like you were finally Guy?
Wow. All right. That's a really good question.
Just start off with a small one, you know?
Jeez, Maggie, come on, man.
I'm sorry.
I guess where did he finally make sense to me? I mean, I hope that he kind of made sense to me before I started shooting, because I guess I was given a lot of time and preparation to work on him before we started shooting. God, I think September last year. I think what makes sense to him is when we started using the mind reading capabilities with a sense of it's all about instinct. That really kind of like landed for me, because I think for a long time I was sort of like, what is this thing? How are we going to make it feel grounded and real and truthful instead of it feeling like a bit of a superhero thing? And once it started to internally kind of like well as like an anxiety that could manifest into hearing things, I think Guy's kind of nerves came to fruition. And I think the stress of the situation of what he's in, being thrust into this very scary, intense place, it helped kind of ground him and going, I've got to use this because I have no other option.
Yeah. I think for me it was Leeds when we were in Leeds, the law firm, because you being quiet and dealing with that and understanding what's in the story, and you just gave us so much. You know, I mean, I should say, instead of you being, when you realized, it was like when I said, oh, this is really, really good what Nicholas is doing, and this is all come together.
Well, we had the space between, because we were shooting in different ways. We were shooting it where there were big gaps left for Guy to actually have the voices be, we could hear them in his mind. So it would be a really peculiar way of shooting, because we'd stop and we'd kind of have to be intuitive enough to guess what was being said at any given time that's on the kind of the subtext of the scene. So it made you very locked in. Sorry, I'm talking a lot.
Oh, no, that's a fantastic answer. And I feel like that comes through in all of the episodes as well. You kind of very much relate to Guy and kind of see inside his mind. So all of that paid off for you.
Oh, wicked.
I love that. Now, Bill, for you, with Jasper, he plays a lot of things very close to the chest. And there's a lot of stuff that the audience may not necessarily fully know as the season progresses. So I'm curious for you as an actor, where do you kind of fill in some of those gaps of some of the mystery, the secretive, kind of his motives, and what are his primal motives?
You know, good scripts, when you read them over and over, you get another layer and you get another layer. Good scripts. These scripts were great scripts. So every time that I read a script over and over, you know, you'd get a hint about something. But there are moments along the way in the first season where Jasper says certain things, and take a minute, think about what he's talking about, and you know, all actors have to fill in the blanks to a certain extent, or, you know, what has some truth to them. And that's always one of the most fun things for me, is filling in the blanks. And with Jasper, there were a lot of things. Hi. That was the best hand waving to get that mic up, Bill.
Get the microphone.
I hope that answers your question. But for me personally, I love just sitting with something and getting some thoughts. And a lot of times I would get thoughts and John, can we have a cup of coffee and bounce some ideas and talk about certain little moments and that? I think this, and John would fill in the blank and tell me something else and put me on another road. And it's part of the joy. When you're having a good time, you want that to happen.
And it comes across on screen as well. Now, John, for you, you're pulling like quadruple duty, producing, writing, show running, directing. How did you decide which episode you wanted to direct on?
Well, I had written the first 2 episodes very early on, and so I said, I'll take that block. We shot in blocks, and I said, it's hard, because when you write something that you're loving, you just really want to direct it, you know. And so for me, it was obvious that if time were going to permit, that I'd be able to do that first block, and also kind of hopefully get us off to the races in terms of not only the characters in the story, but from a crew standpoint and the buy-in from everyone involved and understanding of the story we were trying to tell. And so, yeah, thankfully they let me do it. So it was
what
fun.
John would do is he'd finish his first 2 episodes and then went into the editing room and was in there editing at the same time, coming in and overseeing what was going on with the other directors for the other episodes. So he continued to bounce back and forth.
It was really, that was really, really fun, I have to say, to look at it. It's this enterprise that's going on several fronts, which is unlike directing movies. It's just this, and then you're in post and whatever, to be able to go do this, and then sometimes to go, oh, I'm going to go help out and shoot some inserts or something. It was a blast.
I love that. And something I love, Mark, is how each of these series has a very distinctive feel across this universe. And I'm curious for you, kind of in helping to shape all 3 of these series, what is something you brought from Interview with the Vampire and Mayfair Witches that helped inform some of the decisions you made here with Talamasca?
Well, thanks for saying that. I think that's one of the things I'm proudest of these 3 shows, because they are very different from one another. And, excuse me, they're still Anne Rice, and they're still very, very much with her concerns, I think very thematically, and John mentioned earlier, loneliness and the romance and the whole set question of Anne Rice vampires, for instance, are not vampires as opposed to human beings. They're human beings who happen to be vampires. So they have all of these same emotions and same fears and that we have, and that's why they're so relatable. So the idea of taking these characters, like Jasper, for instance. Jasper is not some evil character lurking in the corner. What he wants is very human. What's ailing him, what's making him stay awake at night, during the day, are the same feelings that we have. So I think stylistically, strangely enough, all 3 shows are quite different. And yet, if you just take a moment and you think about what they're about and what the characters are longing for, they're very connected.
They very much are. Do you have an idea of how many seasons Talamasca will be? Because I know, Interview with the Vampire is up to 3, Mayfair Witches is up to 2.
17.
Yeah, I heard 17.
Well, listen, we can go on for some time. We're hoping there's an afterlife. We were hoping desperately that there's season 2, because we have so many more stories to tell. And in many ways, the first episode is the introduction, is the beginning of Talamasca. In many ways, the story doesn't start until we get to London in episode 2. And I think that, we have a long ways to go. I think these characters and what we've set up will allow us to peel that onion for some time.
I look forward to that. And for Beef, what can you tell us about Beef? Aren't you in that? Yes. Who do you have beef with?
What's that?
Who do you have beef with?
Him.
In this, me.
Him. All the time. Yeah, Beef will come out in April. Shot it in the spring, right after we finished this. And Sonny Jin, the creator of it, is a very special, creative guy.
Excellent. Well, thank you all so much. And thank you for being right here at Collider here at New York Comic Con.
Thanks,
Thank
Maggie.
you.
Everyone to see
Thank you, Maggie.
Talamasca. Thank you.